back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. At the end of December, I got this new wheelchair, and that is so exciting. If you're new here, I am an ambulatory wheelchair user, which means I technically can walk. I have some strength in my legs. I do not have like a spinal cord injury or anything like that. What I do have is a whole host of medical issues that makes walking very difficult and very painful. But what I want to talk about in this video is my wheelchair. I got a Quickie 2 manual wheelchair. It is fully customized to me, and it's my first real manual wheelchair. It's also my first wheelchair I've got through insurance. I've had an electric wheelchair given to me, and then I had an electric wheelchair I purchased myself off of Amazon. It's just like a travel one that folds. It's great for amusement parks, zoos, but it wasn't great for getting around the house, nor was it great for just getting around the grocery store. And as my physical issues continue to worsen and I spend more and more time in a wheelchair, I wanted something comfortable and something practical that would get me back my independence, and this wheelchair has definitely done the job. So, I am going to first explain how I got the wheelchair, then I'm going to show it to you, and then at the end, I'm going to answer a few questions that people have about what it's like to be a wheelchair user. So if you are new here, don't forget to hit subscribe, and let's get started. If you're watching this video, you may be in the process of getting a wheelchair or just wondering how it all works, so that's what I want to cover first. I'm also going to have some coffee because you can never have too much coffee. I have been legally disabled for a long time due to several medical conditions. But there was a time where I was pretty much living in hospitals, and independence was the furthest thing from my mind. I was just trying to survive. And now I am surviving, and I'd like to say thriving. I do still get sick quite often. Actually, I'm doing this video now instead of a normal video because I can't leave the house, and I haven't been able to leave the house all week. But my life is full of time periods like that. It probably always will be. So having a chair that is dependable, that I can lift in and out of the trunk, was so important to me. Because my chair that I had before this was great. It could go like 5 hours around an amusement park or a zoo on a single charge. Everybody in my family could lift it in and out of the trunk, but I couldn't. So when a friend would call and say, hey, do you want to go to this indoor water park? Or do you want to go to the zoo? I had to say no. I didn't want to ask them to lift my wheelchair in and out of my trunk. That's embarrassing. I went to the doctor and I said, hey, I'm having all these extra problems with my joints on top of what I already deal with every day and have been dealing with for a while. I'd like a manual chair. And that is when the process got started. I needed something incredibly lightweight, and I needed something that I could easily self-propel, and something that would be easy to maneuver. Don't mind the cracking, I live in an old house. But this glides incredibly easy is what I'm trying to show you. It zigs, it zags. They sent out a seating specialist. He measured me, he talked about my needs. We identified the Quickie 2 as the right chair for me, and then we went over all the options. And I had no idea it would be so involved, honestly. They asked me what kind of brakes I wanted. They asked me what kind of foot plates I wanted. And I really did have to let the seating specialist guide me because this is all new to me. My next chair, which won't be for another 5 years because that's how often insurance pays for them, I'll know a little bit more about what I want. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the decisions that he helped me make. I wish it had folding back canes, which are the handles, because as it is, it's a little hard to get into my car. And that's really the only regret I have. Anyway, back to the process. In order to get a custom manual wheelchair, you have to need it to get around your house. They do not cover wheelchairs for what they call luxury or recreational use. And excuse me while I just start laughing, because having to use a wheelchair is in no way luxurious. And what is recreational use? I think I'll just go for a spin today. I don't know. It's stupid. But those are the conditions that insurance companies set forth. So I do use the wheelchair in the house. It allows me to easily get from this office space I'm sitting in now to my living room. It allows me to easily access our arts and crafts area. I cook in it. Having that extra movement really has meant everything to me, honestly. I've had these disabling health conditions for so long that I don't think I realized how infrequently I moved most days. I kind of saved things for one trip so I didn't have to get up, because it was extremely hard for me to get up. I didn't know if I was going to pass out. I didn't know if I was going to dislocate a joint. Oh, I might cry. No, I promise. I'm going to try to make it through this without crying. This wheelchair really has improved my quality of life so much. But the first step to getting the wheelchair was to prove that to my insurance company. So I ended up with 2 doctor's visits and an occupational therapy visit. Occupational therapy went over what the doctor did, really. Why do I need the wheelchair? How will it help me? And then he also took measurements of how hypermobile my joints were. I don't remember the exact measurements at this point, but he's like, wow, you weren't kidding. My joints extend well over what they should. So he was able to certify that I do indeed need a wheelchair for safety purposes, because my joints overextend and I dislocate things and I fall, but thanks to this wheelchair, I don't have to. After all those were submitted, a very nice woman at the wheelchair company went over them. She sent out extra forms as needed. I started this process in August, the official process. I met with the seating specialist in August. So the next few months were just gathering paperwork. In November, she was able to submit it, and my insurance came through in 8 days, which I guess is like record quick time. Typically, she said to expect a 3 to 4 week waiting period for insurance to go through all the paperwork. So once that happened, they ordered it. And then as soon as it came in, they scheduled and they delivered it. And that was the process, which I have simplified it. And honestly, it was excruciating. It was nerve-wracking. I was sure I was going to get denied because I do have some physical ability to walk. It might not be much physical ability, but I felt like they would see that, you know, since I can walk small amounts of time, that they would decide that I didn't deserve the wheelchair. But the process is detailed. It's a lot of paperwork. That being said, it is 100% worth it. And if you're watching this because you think you need to have that conversation with your doctor, have it. Get the wheelchair. Make your life easier. So with that all out of the way, I'm going to show you my wheelchair. Here she is. If you are already subscribed and watch my videos, then you know it's pink. Sparkly pink to be exact. These footrests swing fully out and then they come off really easy. It doesn't take any strength at all. The armrests are fully adjustable and they also come off. This whole chair is very sturdy. It's honestly a little bigger than I imagined it to be. Because I didn't get to see a picture of this exact chair. They showed me a base model and then customized it. So I was surprised at how big it was. I want to show you one more thing, and that is the handbrakes. I got extenders put on. So I can very easily brake. I don't use the brakes all that often, if we're being honest. I love this Quickie too. If you are in the market for a lightweight wheelchair and do not have a wheelchair accessible vehicle, this is a model I can highly recommend. Now, on to the last part of the video. I'm actually very uncomfortable doing videos like this where I just talk to you. I feel like they're probably boring. I've got my laptop out and I'm gonna answer some questions. Let's start with a silly one. Why do you get all the good parking spaces? So first of all, I've got to say I don't always get the good parking spots. There are some stores that have so many specialty parking spots and it's like the handicap spots are an afterthought. It's like they're only there because they have to be and they have the minimum amount. You've got expectant mother parking, veterans parking, police officer parking, and all those things are important. I'm not saying any of those are bad. But when you've got as many of those as you have handicap, and the handicap are all full, it is frustrating. So the next question is, what are the hidden difficulties in so-called wheelchair-friendly public spaces? This is a good one. Legally, most places are accessible. Practically, tons of places are not. Thick thresholds are a problem with the manual chair that I did not encounter with the electric chair because the electric chair just rocketed on over those. But the manual chair, it can be a problem. When a barrier like that comes up, how easy it is to get over it depends on the people around me. And I'm not talking about my family. I'm talking about the random strangers. Recently, we were somewhere and I was having a little trouble getting over a threshold. I had finally figured out how I was going to get over it when a woman comes running in the 2-inch space in between the doorway and my wheelchair. Just, no excuse me, no nothing. Just barges her way in as I'm actively trying to get out of the doorway. I don't know why people feel entitled to do things like that, but people are a hidden difficult in wheelchair-friendly places. Another difficulty is bathrooms. A lot of the bathrooms are not truly accessible. Bathrooms are poorly designed. The next question is, what surprising skills do you have? I am an excellent multitasker. I can also carry a huge amount of things on my lap and still wheel this wheelchair around. I feel like this video's gotten long, so I'm going to answer one more question. That question is going to be, what do you wish non-wheelchair users understood? And this one's loaded. I could probably do a whole video on this, but we're going to keep it short and end this video soon. So there is 3 things I wish they understood, and they're all kind of related. The first is wheelchairs do not stop suddenly well. If someone stops in front of me, I'm going to do my best not to run them over, but I can't make any promises. People tend to be so engrossed in what they're doing that they don't look at what other people are doing. And that makes it very difficult for me to navigate a world that already was not designed for me. The second thing I wish people understood is that teaching your kids not to stare at wheelchair users leads to adults that pay no attention to us. I can't tell you how many times people have gone out of their way to act like I don't exist. And I feel like I'm pretty hard to miss. I'm not a small woman. I usually have brightly colored hair. Not right now. I'm taking a break from that. I tend to dress in retro fashions. I feel like it takes work to ignore me. But people manage, whether it's clerks at a store talking to my husband or whoever's with me instead of talking directly to me when I'm clearly the one making the purchase, or just people ignoring the fact that their children are touching or in some cases climbing on my chair. Don't ignore wheelchair users. It's okay to look at us. It really is. And the last thing I wish non-wheelchair users understood is disability is a spectrum. Sometimes an individual person's disability is a pretty wide spectrum. I might be able to do something one day that I cannot do the next day. There are some times when I'm traveling and it is perfectly reasonable for me to park my wheelchair outside the bathroom and walk in so I don't have to fight with an inaccessible bathroom. There are other days where that is not gonna happen. I will always be disabled. I will probably never be able to hold a full-time job. Little moments of slightly more function than usual doesn't change that. So I wish more non-disabled people would realize that. And with that, I'm gonna end this video. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. I visit amusement parks, zoos, parks, all kinds of fun places. And I always try to add in what their accessibility is like. I will be off on new adventures soon, so I can't wait to see you again.